What is up, fam? It is your boy, So Real Sonil. Thank you so much for tuning in to this pregame show. We're doing it kind of spontaneously. I do have Jack Hammer from the Press Democrat. His avatar is next to me, and his voice will be coming through right now. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Sunil?
Doing well, man. A little bit different from how we expected it to be, but you know what? The show must go on, and there's a lot to talk about, Jack. So we're talking about week 3, Sunday night football, 49ers versus Green Bay. I know you're on your way to the game. How are you feeling about this overall matchup?
I'm feeling pretty positive about it. Everything that's when you look at the matchup with the guys from Green Bay that aren't going to be able to be in this game, everything's starting to favor the 49ers even more so than we thought earlier in the week. So this is starting to look like it's a really good game for the 49ers to come out of here 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, their left tackle, they're going to be on a third string. One of their starting corners is out. So definitely positive signs for the 49ers as far as making it a little bit easier. Maybe a little bit of karma from last year, right? Because we had all of our stars out due to COVID protocol. So maybe, this is just the tides riding themselves. But Jack, let's talk about maybe some injury news on our side. I know there hasn't been an actual report coming out, but based off of just what you've heard out of the practices and whatnot, who do you feel like is going to be in? Who do you feel like is going to be out of the day-to-day injuries that we've been watching?
Well, we know that it pretty much looks like Emmanuel Mosley is going to be starting for sure tonight, and it sounds from everything that I'm hearing that it will be Josh Norman starting opposite of him. So those will be the starting cornerbacks tonight. As far as with the running back situation, I would expect to see Trey Sermon being the starter there. No word yet on Elijah Mitchell as far as his availability, but I don't think he's going to be able to go based off of the reports we've heard so far. And I think the fact that the team decided to activate Kerryon Johnson off of the practice squad, I think also kind of leans towards the fact that Mitchell will not be playing tonight.
Got you. So more than likely, the running back core is going to be Sermon, Carry On, and Cannon, correct?
And also don't forget about Jaquez Patrick because he's
Oh yeah,
on that as
Jaquez.
well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Any word on some of the defensive line health? Is Kinlaw full go? Is some of those injuries along the defensive line? Who's in and who's definitely out?
I would expect to still see Kinlaw in the game like last week, and same thing with Armstead because they were both listed on the injury report this week as questionable. I believe it was on Friday, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be. I feel extremely um, uh, positive that it's going to be that Armstead's going to play, and I would expect to see Kinlaw as well.
Okay, that's good because especially with this offensive line from Green Bay already being a porous one, even with their whole healthy offensive line. Now with even more injuries to that, going to a third string left tackle, I assume that this defensive line could have a big game. But let's start with basically the breaking news that Matt Maeko is basically reporting that Josh Norman is going to be starting alongside Mosley. Now, we expected when Mosley was healthy, he was going to be in the starting lineup. But Norman, on the other hand, is a little bit of a surprise, especially with the way Demo Lenore has been playing, for the 49ers. So can you put us in the mindset, if this is actually what's going to happen, of the coaching staff, why they decided to go with the guy like Norman versus Lenore, who, hasn't necessarily lost the job based off his play?
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of here is it kind of goes with the 49ers MO under Kyle Shanahan, which is that they don't really like to play young players. They like to go with the older veterans that they, for whatever reason, maybe gives them a little bit, makes them feel a little more comfortable. Because Lenore's played really well. At least I think he has in weeks 1 and 2. And so this is a little bit of surprise for me that they're going to go with Norman over Lenore. So we'll see how that plays out tonight. And I'm sure Lenore will be the first one off the bench uh, at cornerback as well as at nickelback too.
Now, as far as how this changes the way that they play, right? So this is probably going to be the first real test for this secondary, with Devontae Adams being obviously on the Green Bay Packers and one of the best receivers in the league. With Norman out there, not necessarily being the most mobile, the quickest, and whatnot. However, being a very experienced veteran, do you think that that played a role in whether or not to start Lenore? Just because we obviously saw last week, even though he played very well, the Eagles seemed to throw his way a lot more than Norman's way. Do you think that might have played into the decision making as well?
It could be. It could be. They definitely decided that they wanted to go in his direction, uh, and I would have been fine with him tonight because I thought he held up for the most part pretty well last week, other than really one deep throw.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it changes the way that I think we're going to see the 49ers come out and play a very similar defensive style that we saw them play last week. They're going to come out probably with a two deep shell because of the fact that they're probably a little bit more worried about Green Bay's throwing, so they're not going to come out with so many 8-man fronts. So that'll mean that you'll see two deep safeties and the corners playing underneath. So it'll probably be a lot of cover 2, 4, and 6 like they did last week, and another bend but don't break defensive effort.
Absolutely. Do you imagine them double teaming Devontae, or is this going to be more just kind of whoever responsibility is in that kind of zone, they just kind of maybe hedge the safety over there, but not necessarily like full out double team?
I don't think we're going to see a lot of doubling on Adams. I think it'll be pretty straight up because they don't want that doing the double team and stuff like that really is going to help out Rodgers with finding. He'll be able to just go to other guys because the Green Bay has enough talent on their skill positions around the receivers and running backs that he can beat you with pretty much anybody if you want to double team one of the guys. I think you're going to see them play it pretty straight up.
Okay, cool. Let me get to some comments right now, Jack, before I hit you with the next question. So, Pinor, there's my sunshine. Jack got everyone mad on his channel waiting. Let's go Niners. So I guess not everybody got the memo that we're over here right now. JR Meadows is predicting Niners 29, Packers 12. JR, we are going to give our predictions before the show is over. Steve-O Supremo, of course, double. LOL. So Steve-O believes that they are going to be doubling. Jack, on the other hand, feels like they'll probably play it, straight up just because, obviously Aaron Rodgers is also a savvy vet and he can, sling the ball pretty much to anybody. So I kind of tend to agree with you, Jack, that I think that they have to obviously be aware of where Devontae Adams is. And I think the safeties are definitely going to have their eyes locked on him, but, maybe not full out safeties, especially with Aaron Jones in the backfield. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about this defensive line. So one of the biggest issues that we've been seeing is, the up the middle kind of running game. And that's something that Aaron Jones does very well. AJ Dillon also, their backup running back is, a big guy that could run up the middle as well. What changes do you foresee happening so that the Green Bay Packers aren't just gashing them with probably the best running back that the 49ers have faced this season? Jack, you still there?
I think that we're going to see the 49ers play me.
You're kind of cutting in and out. Oh, I guess we lost Jack. He should be tapping back in pretty soon. Double with the safety, Steve-O. Yeah, I mean, that's a definite possibility. I mean, I don't think I definitely think they're going to be hedging towards his side. However, these guys got to be, ready for whatever, because Lazard, Cobb, um, they all could have big games if we're not paying attention to them as well. Let's see if we got Jack back. Jack, you back? Hello, Jack. Talk to us, Jack. I hear you kind of rumbling in the background. J.R. Meadows, our pass rush is going to eat Aaron too slow. And I absolutely think that the defensive line is going to be a major, major problem. Even Detroit, who has a far inferior defensive line, was able to, get to Aaron Rodgers a little bit, at least in the first half of that Detroit versus Green Bay game. We obviously saw the New Orleans Saints, who have a decent, defense, but I would say not at the level of the 49ers defensive line. Definitely make life miserable for Aaron Rodgers. I definitely believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to speed up. I think he's going to be running out of the pocket a lot, just because the 49ers defensive line is going to be in the backfield wreaking havoc. So he's going to have one of his better games to be able to contend. But hopefully this is one of those games that we get to see the defensive line actually finish, like not those close sacks, but actually get to Aaron Rodgers. I want to see at least 5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers and really make life miserable for him, especially with, a third string left tackle. Bakhtiari's injured. Corey Linsley is now with the Chargers. So it's kind of not the same offensive line that Aaron Rodgers has been used to. So we definitely need the defensive line to prove their worth. We definitely put a lot of assets into the defensive line. Didn't cut anybody through training camp, and these are the type of games that they need to step up and really show why they are who they are. Let me see what other questions while we got Jack working on getting back in. Here's a question. NFL players get paid what military gets paid. Switch it. I don't know. That would be cool if both of them could get paid the same amount, right? We don't want one person to get less than the other. J.R. Meadows, Rodgers not going to have no 5-second drop back. You are absolutely right, man. I expect them to be a lot more quick slants, things like that. So hopefully these corners could play aggressive at the line, kind of mess up all of those timing type passes that I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do to avoid, being sacked. Beat the Packers. I love it. By Nick Danger. I love it. Nick Bosa, aka the Disruptor, coming. Absolutely. So I know Jack was, on his way to the stadium, so he may or may not be coming back. But while I have you guys here, let me list some of the keys to victory that I actually have for the 49ers. So the first thing, J.R. Meadows has been talking about it, is that defensive line has to eat, right? They have to make Aaron Rodgers' life miserable. On this team, the defense isn't very stellar. Devontae Adams obviously is a weapon. Aaron Jones obviously is a weapon, but they all basically go by what Aaron Rodgers is doing, right? So I think that Aaron Rodgers is the biggest, obviously, issue for the 49ers. They could solve that problem. Basically, you cut the head off the snake, the rest of the body will follow, right? So that defensive line needs to make the life miserable for Aaron Rodgers, make him speed up his passes. A lot of what we saw New Orleans be able to do, and we saw, Aaron Rodgers have one of the worst games he's ever had in history. It's going to be a lot easier, especially with this patchwork offensive line that the Packers are trying to put together. but they're still NFL players, right? So the defensive line has to still do their job and get to Aaron Rodgers early and often to really mess up any kind of momentum that Green Bay offense could have. On the other side of the ball, I think we've seen how the 49ers have been able to dominate Green Bay in the past, and that has been with a stellar running game. I expect this Sunday to be a religious Sunday because we are all going to church ready for that sermon. And when I mean sermon, I mean Trey Sermon. So this has to be a big game for Trey Sermon, right? He has started off this season very, very down just because early scratch in week 1, second game, getting knocked out on his first carry with the illegal hit that led to concussion for him. So this is his chance, right? There's no real competition for him as he is the only back that's really been in this system throughout training camp and obviously, knows the plays. Cannon's been there a week. Everybody else has been there in a matter of days. So this has to be a heavy, heavy offering of Trey Sermon. And this is his time to shine. This is the reason why they traded up for a guy of his caliber. We saw a little bit of wiggle and explosiveness in that first carry that he had. We saw him in the during preseason really showing that, he is a capable running back. And I expect him to get, pretty much probably like 80 to 90% of the carries, much like we saw of Mitchell in week 1 against Detroit. And we have to see Sermon do well because we saw we saw the 49ers beat Green Bay a couple years ago in the NFC Championship game with Jimmy only attempting to throw the ball 8 times. If we could get to that same type of situation, that would be amazing where we don't really have to depend on Jimmy, airing the ball out because we haven't really seen it this year as far as much air game other than, Debo. So the offensive line, this is their chance to look like world beaters again, much like they did against Detroit. Obviously, last week they had a little bit of trouble because of how good the Eagles' defensive line is. So they're not going to be dealing with the same type of talent at every single position in the defensive line like they did against the Eagles. So they need to be dominant again. Trey Sermon, I would love to see him go over 100 yards. And if that running game is dominant, keeps Aaron Rodgers off of the field, keeps the ball with the 49ers, keep our defense fresh so that, when they do come in after hopefully scoring drives from the offense, they're able to go full blast and really make life miserable for Aaron Rodgers. The last phase that I'm really looking towards is special teams again. Mitch Wishnowsky, if for some reason the offense is faltering, his ability to pin, Green Bay deep and make Aaron work with larger and longer fields, I think is going to be extremely, extremely important because that is going to be another key to help the defense. We've seen this defense not really get a lot of 3 and outs, but, after that first or second, first down, they're kind of like that bend, don't break. So they're able to get people out before they get into scoring positions, before they're able to, keep the ball out of the end zone and even get them into field goal range. So if we could keep Green Bay punting, that obviously helps out the 49ers as well. And the last key is just the secondary, making sure that Devontae Adams, doesn't go off, right? So, seeing if it's going to be Mosley and Norman, obviously be disciplined with your eyes, be disciplined with your positioning, make sure that you're not biting on, his double moves and things of that nature. Hopefully he won't have time to do that because the defensive line is doing their job, but communication between the DBs and the safeties, I think, is going to be key. We saw that be a lot better against the Eagles. We saw that be a problem against Detroit. So making sure that communication is there is going to be key. This could be a very easy victory for the 49ers. I think they just are a better team. at this point, especially with the injuries that Green Bay has. They're down a corner. Jair Alexander's still going to be there, so obviously he's still a big talent. And they still have Aaron Rodgers, and solid running back core. So this can still be a problem if the 49ers don't take care of what they need to take care of. If they do take care of what they need to take care of, this could be another, solid, easy victory on Sunday night, right? In prime time. Nick Garfoot, Rodgers can't do much if he's on his back and running for his life. Absolutely, Nick. That's why we need the defensive line to really, to really show out this game. They have every opportunity to do what we saw Cleveland do, against Chicago this week. I think Cleveland ended up with 9 sacks. That would be amazing if, the 49ers our defensive line could take that as a challenge and go out and try to beat that this week on prime time. That would be great, and we don't know, like, this would be a great game to really show what team Green Bay is, because we saw them get blown out against New Orleans. They didn't look very good at all. Against Detroit, in that first half, it was very close. The second half, obviously, they created separation. And now people are saying, okay, well, maybe that's what Green Bay looks like. If the 49ers could go out here and really dominate the way that we know they're capable of, it would be great to see, maybe, Green Bay again being questioned whether or not they're one of the powerhouses in this league right now. We obviously know this is an important game. Arizona got a win. The Rams look like they're up against Tampa Bay right now. Seattle, I don't have the score with what they're doing with Minnesota, but that's a very winnable game for them. So we need to keep par. This is a game that we are definitely capable of winning. The games that we can win, we need to win, because the NFC West is a beast. So, yeah, guys, if there's not any other questions, I'll go ahead and get you guys back to watching football. Everybody that's on right now, the minute that the game goes final, please come back to the channel. We are going to be doing a call-in show. I'll put the link in the description of the video that's already created. Call in, sound off about what you think about the game. I'd love to hear your analysis, what went good, what went bad, what you like, what you don't like. And, go Niners. Let's hope for a big victory today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in last minute. You guys enjoy the rest of your football day. Let's enjoy the game, have a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys back right after the game right here for Sound Off with the Faithful on So Real Sports Talk TV. You guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you guys in a few hours. Take care.